Long ago, before cities rose and rivers were tamed, there lived a humble woman named Ikem in a quiet village surrounded by lush forests and whispering streams. Ikem was known for her gentle spirit and resilience, but her greatest strength was a love so fierce and unyielding that it could move mountains. This is our story, a story of a mother's love, a thread spun from her soul, binding her to her child from the first breath to the last. Nkem had long dreamed of becoming a mother. When she learned she was with child, her joy was boundless. But the road was not easy. As her belly swelled with life, her body ached in ways she had never known. Her feet swelled, her back throbbed, sleep often eluded her. Yet, through every moment of discomfort, she would place a hand on her stomach and whisper, "You're worth it." When the time came for the child's birth, the pain of labor seized her like a storm. It was as though her body was being torn apart. But she bore it with courage. Every scream, every tear, every gasp for breath was a sacrifice she gladly made. After hours that felt like eternity, a baby's cry pierced the night, and the midwife placed a tiny boy in her arms. Akem looked into her son's eyes, and in that instant, the pain faded. She named him Obina, meaning father's heart, for he was her everything. As she cradled him against her chest, she made a silent vow. "I'll give you the world, even if it costs me mine." Raising Obina was a journey of sacrifices, both small and great. Akem often went to bed hungry so her son could have the last morsel of food. Her hands once soft, now calloused from long hours in the field, harvesting yam and cassava to provide for him. There were sleepless nights when Obina was sick, his tiny body burning with fever. Akem would sit by his side, her hands cool against his forehead, whispering prayers into the darkness. She would walk miles to fetch herbs from the village healer, never caring about her own exhaustion. When Obina took his first step, Nkem clapped and laughed. Her joy was uncontainable. She cherished every milestone, his first words, his first laugh, his first day in the village school. But for every moment of joy, there were moments of heartache. She endured the sting of his tantrums, the sharpness of his defiance as he grew older. Yet her love never wavered. She would say to herself, "A mother's heart is a river. It flows, bends, and sometimes breaks, but it never stops." As Obina grew into a young man, he began to pull away, testing the boundaries of her love. He would challenge her authority, question her wisdom, and sometimes lash out in anger. There were nights when Ukem cried silently, wondering if he understood all she had done for him. One day, when Obina was 16, he stormed out of the house after an argument about his future. Ukem stood at the doorway, watching him disappear down the road. Her heart felt heavy, but she didn't call him back. She knew that sometimes love meant letting go, even when it hurts. She stayed awake that night, waiting for him. When he finally returned, his shoulders slumped with regret. She embraced him without a word. Her love was not diminished by his rebellion. It grew stronger, like a tree weathering a storm. Years passed, and Obina became a man. He left the village to seek his fortune in the city, but he never forgot his mother. Every month, he sent her letters filled with stories of his struggles and triumph. He would write, Mama, everything I am, I owe it to you. One day, Obina returned home, no longer the boy who had once tested her patience, but a man full of gratitude. He had built a house for her, a grand home with wide verandas and a garden filled with her favorite flowers. He knelt before her and said, Mama, you gave me everything, even when you had nothing. This is for you. The king's eyes filled with tears, but she placed a hand on his shoulder and said, Obina, the greatest gift you could have ever given me is the man you have become. In the latter years, the king's steps grew slower and her hands trembled with age. But her love for Obina never faded. When she became too frail to care for herself, Obina moved her to the city to live with him and his family. He would sit by her bedside, telling her stories and singing the songs she had sung to him as a child. One evening, as the sun set, the king held his hand and said, My son, do not mourn me when I am gone. My love for you is eternal, and it will live on in your heart, in the children you raise, and in the lives you touch. When Ukem passed away, the village gathered to honor her. Obina spoke of her sacrifices, her strength, and her unwavering love. My mother, he said, was not just the woman who gave me life. She was the foundation, my God, my greatest blessing. If I am anything in this world, it is because of her. The Kem's story is the story of mothers everywhere. It is the story of women who endure pain, sacrifices, and heartbreaks, all for the sake of their children. It is a story of love so deep, so selfless, that it shapes generations. To every mother, we owe our thanks for the sleepless nights, the silent prayers, the sacrifices unseen. Your love is the thread that binds the world together.